Good evening and welcome to the regular town council meeting of September 17th, 2024. I'd like you to join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You want to be in a moment of silence? Thank you. Moving on to item number 4, look for a motion from the council to adopt the meeting minutes of August 20th, 2024.
Move we adopt the minutes of the meeting of August 20th, 2024.
Second.
Moved and seconded.
There's one correction that Councilor Donahue had pointed out. The minutes reflect Councilor Hall as being both present and absent, so.
I was.
Saw that.
Pass them with that amendment.
Just.
You were present, right?
I was out. He was
Oh, you were absent. Okay. So, yeah. Is there any other comments on the meeting minutes from the audience? No. Council, everybody else all set with that amendment?
Yep.
All right, look for all those in favor of passing the meeting minutes of August 20th, 2024 with the amended, you say aye. All right. Any opposed? No. Meeting minutes passed are adopted. Item number 5, Jared Gillette is here from the DOT to present on the VPI update. Are you ready, or you want me to come back to you?
Give me a minute.
Yeah.
Sorry, I got invited to a very, very nice dinner. By myself.
All right, we'll go on to item number 6, give Jared a minute. Jacob, can you please read order 2408?
Order placing charter amendment questions on the November 5th, 2024 municipal election ballot.
Look for a motion from the council.
Move we adopt order 2408 regarding the amendment to the charter.
Look for a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any comments from the audience on order 2408? Hearing none. Are there any comments from the council on order 2408? We've gone over this quite a few times. So I think everybody all set? All right, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of putting order 2408 on the ballot for November 5th, 2024, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it. Order 2408 will be on the November 5th election ballot. And I will move on to item number 7, reports. Jacob, do you have a report for us?
Yes. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Tax bills, as you all know, were sent out 2 weeks ago. This year, our certified assessment ratio had dropped to 60%, which failed to meet the minimum assessing standard of 70% established in state law. To address this, the assessor was able to do a real estate factor, which brought the new certified ratio up to 85%. This brought the homestead exemption up to 21,250 and dropped the mill rate to 21.05. Overall, there was a 4% increase in the amount needed for taxation between the county and the school district. The ceremony for the new sign at Stein Park took place today. Community members and relatives of Dr. Stein were all in attendance. The new signage, as you all know, looks excellent, and the community's positive response reflects the hard work and dedication of everyone involved in the project. Reminder that nomination papers for town council and school board are due by Monday at 5:30. Those interested should ensure that their paperwork is submitted on time for placement on the November ballot. The consent judgment for the Webb Road property was filed on September 3rd. This sets a deadline for Mr. Blankenship to remove all the remaining items from the property by October 3rd. If that cleanup is not completed by that date, the town will proceed with the removal process starting October 4th. Finally, the Pittsfield Community Festival, originally scheduled for this Saturday, has been downsized and relocated to the Pittsfield Public Library. This event will run from 12 p.m. to 4 p.m. One other thing, I don't think Russell is in attendance, but I wanted to recognize Russell for obtaining his CEO certification. So he has done that recently, so a job well done to him. And also included in your packet is August expense and revenue reports and also department head reports. Several department heads are in attendance this evening. That's all I have.
Excellent. You're good to go.
We're good to go.
We'll loop back to the presentations. Again, this is Jared Gillette from the DOT here to update us on the DPI project.
Well, thank you Pittsfield for having me back in town and NCI for inviting me to dinner. It was great. One of the perks I like about my job is free food. The only perk I get, well, that and coffee. So just a few updates, where we're at. You know, we are coming into the home stretch with the feasibility report. I've asked Don Ettinger, the consultant, the project manager for the consultant, to get us a draft final by, I said, mid-October. What will then happen is that will give the town department heads a month to look at the draft final and any comments, feedbacks. I'll circulate that within the department. One thing though that we did have a conversation with was with the school, Maine Central Institute. And where we do have a project coming down Stinson Street, as that's a municipal road that is eligible for the project. You know, the school did a lot of work with a very world-renowned landscape architecture firm, Sasaki and Associates, in designing some additional improvements to Weymouth Street and a centerpiece sort of focal public park that actually caught the eye of the department in that, one, we wanted to do a pocket park in sort of downtown Pittsfield, but there's successful business there. So this is part of trying to bring that vision, placing it there, and improving pedestrian connectivity through the school and the campus, and also improving some of the traffic flow for municipal buses. Now, what's the caveat? There's always a caveat. How is this possible? The way forward is we would go through a process of designating Weymouth Street as a municipal road. That's something that's actually an easy process to do with DOT. It's literally your code enforcement and your road commissioner goes into the E911 system and says, thus is a road, and it's now a municipal road. What does this do to your project cost? Well, this would add on cost. However, in talking with the school has said they're willing to commit to cover their match for what would be the additional cost. So they would cover the additional expense for preliminary engineering, as well as the additional cost for the match structure to actually do the construction. The reason why I'm bringing this up is, you know, this ultimately is a municipal decision to choose to go forward with this. We support it in the department because it does have that placemaking element that we weren't necessarily able to do. It does fit within a program called our Business Partnership Initiative, where we work with businesses, nonprofits to improve pedestrian access and safety for customers and employees. And when we go to have this narrative of the grant application, it really makes for a good story of schools, towns, DOT working together. But the question though is this something that the municipality is interested in doing? And I mean, personally, for me, as a landscape architect, when I saw this, I was like, well, that's really cool. And this plan set done by the engineers, I love engineers, they're not good drawers. It doesn't do justice what the Sasaki Associates has, and that's an opportunity for us to make, I think, mutually beneficial investments in infrastructure with leveraging federal funds and public-private partnership type avenues. So that's just something that I wanted to present and give the town some time to think about it. Our next steps, though, as this wraps up, you know, we will go on to preliminary engineering, and that will then set us up to look at going towards a raise grant. Right now, your project budget is at roughly 28 million, so you would be looking at a $2.8 million municipal investment, with a portion of it offset by Maine Central Institute and said benefactors.
Right. So what they contribute will contribute to our overall 2.8 million match.
Yes.
Okay.
It would, I don't know how much this necessarily is gonna add on. I know that we took some things out. This would be adding on some extra things, but realistically, if this is a, you know, I'm sizing it up, just, this is me guesstimating. And you've also got something from Chin Brad, I'm sure it has a lot of estimates too. I think we're looking at probably an additional 1.2 million for these interventions, plus the addition of a parking lot, which the municipality has said would, or sorry, the school has said would be available for municipal use. And that's a requirement that we have at DOT, is that any person in the public would be able to at any time park in that parking lot. Because it would be a municipal parking lot meant to alleviate parking conditions at your downtown businesses and for sporting events as well, and what other cultural events. This area here would be required to be, you know, available to the public. There's a park design here, and this is actually proposed as having a brick. The final details of this will also be worked out in preliminary engineering. But this would be available to the public, and, you know, as Stinson Street is a public street, anybody can drive or walk through here. Anybody would have the ability to drive and walk through Weymouth Street. And the school, the trustees and the security subcommittee have all felt that with the security procedures in place, they're comfortable with that being a public road. But ultimately, at the end though, this is your town's decision, and if you do go forward, whatever maintenance agreements you work out would be between, you know, school and town. But like I said, we think this is a good addition to the project, and I'm glad that, you know, I had a chance to work with Craig and David and other folks from NCI. And honestly, like, I don't say this in all the towns I go to, when I come to Pittsfield, I just get that good feeling, like it's nice to see everybody just working together, your community's engaged, you've got a lot of people who talk to me about this, and I had a great dinner with some great kids from Japan and Korea. They were like, "You speak Korean? What are you doing?" So, you know, this I think adds to that overall package that we're gonna send to the federal government at some point. So that's all I got for you.
Is there anything that the council needs to do to
Well-
move this along tonight, or?
I think we more or less want to get the council's, you know, gauge your temperature as to whether this is, you know, a good thing or it's an absolute no-go. As if it's a no-go, there's certainly no sense in us including it in this report, but if the council is okay with it.
I have a quick question. So Stinson Street. I think that's Stinson Street, is that
Yep.
right? Okay, so does this move it?
We are in this process looking at realigning Stinson Street over a little bit to accommodate the pedestrian facilities, as well as get a little bit away from the windows of the Baptist church, give them some, give them something to mow a bit. And it does have some realignment of Weymouth Street. And part of why I think the school also is interested in this is the buses have a tight turning movement that keeps ripping it up, making Lake Weymouth. I did hit the belly pan of Mont 230 and in there today. And this would, you know, the other reason too is, school buses traverse this would help facilitate safety for school buses, traveling public, people going through and for this. There is gonna be, already in the plans, we are moving the Crown of Stinson Street over. This would just tie in and then I think keep that flow going for motorists going through the campus as well as pedestrians, as well as, my goal for what I see going on in here is to have a very elevated sort of, I guess we call it like a mantelpiece or like a plinth, something to really announce, bam, you are coming into Pittsfield, look at the pretty things, ooh, let's go spend some money. Which at the end of the day, that's ultimately what this is about. I want the boarding students at MCI to walk downtown and drop some money. I want people coming in from wherever they're coming from, Heartland's that way, but well, coming in from Heartland too, you gotta make it right. Drop some money and also for your residents, have an elevated quality of life and safety. So logistically, it's just a matter of your council says, yeah, let's make this a municipal road, work out your maintenance agreement. On our end, it's code enforcement buddy just goes in and goes into the 911 or wherever your road commissioner is and says, this is now a town road. We give it a route code in DOT automatically and it'll pop up in my map viewer and we can keep going on. Like I said, town's decision, and this is not a pressure thing, it's just something to consider.
Right. Any questions from the audience on this topic, or Jared or anybody else?
Too nice.
No comments from the audience. Council, are we on board with this?
We wanna hear from David, maybe?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay.
I mean, if you'd like me to, I can just talk about it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure, that'd be great.
And Jared just did a magnificent job, and including, he got dinner tonight, I didn't, I came in. That didn't work out. Don't look for the steak, man. Where are you? I keep on dinner. But that aside, as he said, we've had some architectural plans and design plans for the front campus for some time. And with this project that's been ongoing, that we've been talking about, including the public meeting in August, it really has developed an incredible energy. And you all know that we want to make the school the centre and the heart of the community. We're doing more and more to bring people to the school. And in reality, the campus is de facto public at the moment. People train on our track, they walk their dogs on our front campus, they come over and take part in events. Jan, you host the concert in the park there when it rains, and we want to continue to do that. And this whole process is calming traffic, it's making it safer for our students, all of our students who are on campus, increasingly 24/7, and we're open all year round. And the buses at the moment are literally ripping the sidewalks and the existing road into little bits. And there are, when I say Lake Weymouth, we could put trout in there and stopped it. It was that salt fly fishing passage, but we're trying to mitigate that. But more importantly, this area here, the centre, I mean, we think this will be some magnificent plaza where we can host town events, we can have maybe concerts in the park like they do at Albion, different venues, different ways to bring the community together. We had a football game on Friday, it was brilliant, it's the best game I've seen in 3 years, we won 21-12. We probably had 600 people at the game. Cars were parked all over the campus, literally bumper to bumper, and when the game finished, it was really hard to leave. With the car parking and that's contained in this plan, it's going to be tremendously beneficial to everybody, and also safety. You've already heard about the pedestrian sidewalks. After the game, people walk up the road. There's nowhere for them to walk. In the winter, when there's snow, they become tunnels where the students are literally forced to walk down in the main Stinson Road. This is an addendum to that. We think it's logical, it builds upon our own plans that we've been working on. In addition to this, you should know that I have received donations from a foundation that will allow us to landscape also the area in front of Founders Hall, which has recently been renovated. So you'll start to see a really beautiful area. And it's also going to be attractive when I recruit boarding students, when they see the campus, they choose here instead of Kents Hill, Gould, Hebron, which will generate revenue for the whole community. So I think it's really a nice proposal that blends right into the Main Street development, and we're willing to step up and pay the 10% match that we're required to do. And I think that's where I am. But Craig's been working with this a lot. I've spoken to our faculty and staff, and there's 73 odd people working there, very excited about this whole development because it's going to be a massive improvement. And one of the problems we do have literally is the crumbling infrastructure. This is a way that we can work together to solve a lot of problems for the long term. So thank you.
Great, thank you very much. Council, we all set to kind of give the green light on this? I think it's a no-brainer for the town, for MCI and for the, you know, everybody involved, so. You got your go-ahead.
All right, thank you.
Great, thank you, Jared. Moving on to item number 8, old business, there is none, new business. Jacob, can you read resolution 2486, please?
Resolution approving the 2025 budget calendar.
For a motion from the council,
Move we adopt, resolution 24-86.
Second,
moved and seconded. Are there any comments from the audience on the resolution 2486? None. Any comments from the council? Are we good with the proposed budget season? Everybody's good. All right, no comments. Since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 2486, please say aye.
I,
Aye. All those nay, there are none. And resolution 2486 passes. Jacob, moving on to resolution 2487, please.
Resolution approving the request for proposals for Sebastian Street culvert repair and the Crawford Road Bridge repair.
For a motion from the council,
Move we adopt resolution 24-87.
second,
moved and seconded. Any, do you want to speak to this at all, Jacob? or-
This
Or-
is a,
Donnie?
yeah, Donnie can speak to it. This is a project that the town had taken out a loan for. As far as the specifics, Donnie, I don't know if you. want to-
Yeah, basically up until about 3 years ago, we were getting bridge reports and we were getting conditions of our bridges in town. And if anybody hasn't noticed, Sebastian Street, DOT has made us put signs up that says that road's limited to 22 tons. As of October 1st, it's limited to 3 tons. We have a culvert there that's in disrepair that needs to be lined. And we've known about it for a couple of years. And also, it's about $30,000 worth of guardrail. The guardrail is down here. And it's been brought to our attention this year that we need to do something immediately about the problem before it becomes a legal problem for us. If somebody flips a car and goes over that guardrail and drowns in the river, we know that it's substandard according to the bridge reports. And it's the same way with the Crawford Road. The Crawford Road, I think that we can engineer that one. If you look on the west side of that, there's a concrete wall that's there. For what reason, I don't know. We thought it was historical. Maybe there's a grist mill or something there. That's not true. When you got water in the springtime going over and it's even under the bridge and bottom there. And there is a pretty big area there that needs to be repaired. So we put $75,000. We took out a loan. I think it was 50 with another one of those loans that we've had money sitting there. And we need to get these projects expedited. I think if we bid them out now, we can get some contractors to bid good prices for the spring to get these things taken care of and knock them off our to-do list. We put major improvement paving on the Crawford Road. We did pave part of Sebastian Street. We saved that part that obviously with the defective culvert is because we didn't want to waste our money. So it's time to complete those projects, cross them off our list and get them taken care of. So it's not anything out of the ordinary. We knew what was coming, but it's to the point now where we need to act and get these projects completed. So.
Excellent, thank you, Donnie. Are there any comments from the audience on this resolution? There are not. Any comments from The council?
Yeah, I got a question.
Yes, go ahead.
So we've got the money for this put aside?
I believe when we took out a loan for one point
1.07
million for the first one, when we were doing, as part of the paving project, we used $1 million for the paving, and then we had extra money that we borrowed for these projects.
For these projects.
I'm pretty sure we do have that.
So, and your estimates are that what we have will cover the projects.
Yes, that was,
You hope.
that was initial estimate 2 years ago, and that was.
Yeah, I
2024.
remember going through that. but-
Some of the stuff, obviously, that there's gonna be some stuff that we can do as part of the public works, there's some minor projects that we can do to help out, that's gonna save time.
And these are gonna be, the culverts are gonna be relined once that's Cook Street.
There's one left, we've had two relined, three and a half, 4 years ago.
Right.
So this is the last one that's on that, and so how long realignment, the engineers have given us 10 to 15 years, but at some point, we're gonna have to make a determination. One of the things that we don't wanna do is if you post that down to 3 ton, you're still having traffic go up and down through there. So I would probably walk from where the elderly complex is, and at the end of Main Street and Sebastian Street, there would be walking traffic only. So I think that would be prohibitive. And it's the same way with the Crawford Road. They've got a project that they're gonna be doing, DOT's gonna be doing a couple of bridges up here, on Route 100 South. Jacob had called me today and asked the possibility of diverting traffic and detouring it across the Webb Road and Crawford Road to come out onto Somerset Avenue. And I said, that probably wouldn't be a good idea. You've got a bridge that's posted at 10 ton, you've got 30-ton log trucks coming across it. We just paved the Crawford Road. So we'll work with them to try to detour them and get them to 95 and keep them off the secondary roads.
Thanks. This is also just an RFP, which is kind of good. If it comes in high going into the budget season, we can address the fact that it's significantly higher, or it won't be lower, but.
And I think you'll have local contractors, there are some local contractors, Snowman's and a few other ones around that maybe that the Parker Road Bridge is a few specialty ones that do the culverts, but when they came in the last time for 2 of them, they were very competitive pricing.
Excellent. Any other questions from the council? Once we are ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 2487, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 2487 passes. Resolution 2488, please, Jacob.
Resolution awarding the winter snow plowing and sanding contract to M French and Son Trucking in the amount of $133,950.
Look for a motion from the council.
Move we adopt resolution 2488.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Donnie, do you want to speak to this, or Jerry, or
Yeah, I certainly will.
anybody else?
At the council's direction, we talked back a little while ago about our ability with manpower and equipment to be able to keep up with the wind plowing with all the 54.2 miles that we have. And one of the things that we have in front of us is 3 or 4 years ago, we decided that we were gonna plow on roads, but we haven't had the finances to be able to buy decent equipment and to be able to hire decent people, extra in the winter time, whether it be part-time help or whatever, to help us with our winter roads. So this was one of the areas that we talked about putting at least part of it out to bid. And at the last meeting, I know that Council Sauce here said something about, let's put the whole town out to give you guys a perspective on what it would actually cost. So, $133,950 is an excellent quote from Matt French Trucking. He's new to doing this. He's trucked propane in the wintertime, and he trucks water for pools in the summertime. So he's looking to keep himself and his other employee busy, so he doesn't have to lay somebody off and still pay for it. He came out and showed interest a while back. He was talking to S&G in the stand about taking over if he was gonna quit buying his trucks and doing some of the plowing. So we put this out to bid. He was one contractor, the only contractor that showed up and rode the roads with me to actually look at what the scope of work was gonna be. And get some ideas about how we could do it, where he could do it. He's purchased 2 nice 2008 and 2007 wheeler dump trucks, Sanders plows that almost look brand new. I wish I knew they were out there. I would bought them for the price that he's getting them for. It's just like anything else. I think that he's new. He's got concern. He lives in town. He pays taxes. And we had some bidding that gave us some eye openers. I think the next lowest bid was 197, and the next one after that was 251, and that was for the 2 routes in West Pittsfield. The other one came in at 368 and 581 to do the whole town. And to give you a perspective on one way or the other, we either need to make the jump and do this or do it as a part of a municipal and a private partnership, which I think this will work. We just don't have the manpower, we don't have the money and assets available. They don't give grant money out to plow trucks. We really need to take the opportunity and look at how we're gonna continue doing what we're doing. We got 54.2 miles of road. We can do in-town roads if I can get the people that I need. I think we have the equipment and the ability to be able to replace the equipment, existing equipment, to do that. But at $581,000, this council of still, if they were to plow the whole town, you're still gonna have to come up with about $120,000 with the sand and salt. And then you're gonna get your roads plowed, and then you got 18 miles of sidewalks. You got all your town properties and parking lots, and then you got the trucking and the snow. So, you're looking at an operation that's $1.2 million or $1.3 million if you had a contractor do it. Our highway department and our public works department here does everything that we're doing with $830,000. And I think they should be commended. We've got 3 guys. We're in a situation now where nobody wants to come to work. I've interviewed 2 people, so I think I got 2 people to come aboard, 2 that are gonna come on maybe in the next month or so, or less than a month. So we got some people that wanna work. And the other thing is something that we gotta work on, and we'll do that during budget, is making sure that we take care of our employees. Nobody's gonna come plow snow for $17, $18 an hour. I've just worked with Palmyra. They have nobody at their public works department to plow. They just offered $25 an hour and they had 0 takers over the last month. So this is something that not everybody does. And they get up in the middle of the night, they work 15, 16, 17 hours straight on roads that nobody else wants to drive on. So hopefully we can work something during budget time, but I think this here is a no-brainer. $133,950. I said if we could get in at $150,000, we probably couldn't do it for that, just for the wear and tear and fuel.
Great. Yeah, thank you, Donnie.
You're welcome.
Go to the. I'll come back, or do you want?
No, that's fine.
Okay, does the audience have any questions on resolution 2488?
So I'm new in town and I
Yeah.
just have one question.
Sure.
Who was doing the plowing last winter?
S&G Construction was doing.
No, I was just in general, I was.
Oh, in general, S&G
Yeah.
Construction was
So
doing,
so it was so it was a contractor last year too.
they were doing 2,
Yeah, thank you. I just
Right.
was curious for
That's-
clarity as far as how it worked.
yeah, are you all set? Yes, you guys are all set?
Thank you, I'm
Yeah,
sorry.
no problem. Any other questions from the audience? There are not, council, Heather?
You said it's him and 2 employees,
It's him and another employee. There's 2 routes.
2 people are gonna do all the plowing that S and G has been doing.
No, they're gonna do the 2 West Pittsfield routes. They're combined into 1 route. They're gonna do 28.2 miles, and we're gonna do the rest of what's left over the 54. We're gonna do the in-town routes. Stanley was doing an in-town route and 1 out-of-town route. Matt French Trucking is gonna do the whole out-of-town route.
And so you're doing what you did last year and you're picking up an in-town route.
We're picking up an in-town route,
But
but
they're
we're
getting rid of the
getting rid of
out-of-town.
an out-of-town. Because one of the things that, doing those roads and doing those miles of road, you really need a big wheeler dump truck. And unless you got $300,000 in your back pocket, which we don't have the money to replace those types of trucks. At some point, we're gonna have to replace one that we're using for summer work.
I was thinking more manpower, like if 2 people were enough to do that out of town space there.
Yes.
And before you had talked about, being able to sand and plow at the same time, and does his trucks have the capability to do that?
That's the whole purpose. They're gonna be using our sand and salt, we'll be loading them, and they'll be sanding and salting at the same time, so we're not gonna have to stop in the middle of the route to get sand or route that somebody else is doing. It's gonna be all done at the same time.
Is that why the unit price is so much lower for that bid? Cause my question is, it's substantially lower than the other two.
And it is, he got a really good price on his trucks, and one of the questions that he had to do was make sure that he was doing it for the right price. He said he wanted to make sure, we don't want anybody to do it that's not gonna make money. And that was one of his concerns with securing the trucks, which he has, was to be able to what his cost was gonna be. Obviously, down the road, I'm sure that it's probably gonna go up 3 or 5 or 7% once he figures it out with the price of fuel and stuff, but. At that number, he sat down and figured out the number of miles. Like I said, he came out, drove everything. I didn't want to put out any misconceptions to him, have him come back and say, you did this to me, now I need more money. He says he can make money doing it with that, and he said there'll probably be a slight increase, you know, over the.
This is a 1-year bid,
The
right?
1-year bid, and he said he would work with us if we wanted to do a multiple year bid. He said 3 years would be wonderful if we decided down the road to do that. But he said he wants to get his feet wet first to show that
Yeah.
he can do it, and then come back to the table.
Kind of,
I have
go
one
ahead.
more question.
No, you're good.
No. You don't have the same question as me.
No, I was just thinking, yeah, that's kind of probably what the town's thinking too, is
Well,
let's do it for 1 year and see what happens and.
And I told him the same thing, let's get through.
Address maybe a
3/4
three-year,
through the
3 year.
season, and we've got plenty of time. For next year to be able to, you know, extend it out if we wanted to do a 2-year extension. I think would be safe doing it that way, whatever we bid. I think we do it a year and then see what the quality of the work and where they're going, and then we make a decision as a town.
Right,
Donnie, when I look at the math, did the other two bids give you any indication as to why there was such a significant jump? Did you notice that?
Well, when we did this, we did something a little different. When we do paving, and I know the state does this, they do everything by lane miles. So if you got a 10-mile road, they say they're plowing 20 miles road. They're actually only still plowing 10 miles road, it's both lanes, but when you're pricing out asphalt, you're buying that asphalt for each lane, so you do it as a lane. I said, I'm done with that, I don't like that term, it's a paving term.
Mhm.
Plowing snow, I want it by road mile.
Okay,
So what they've done is they've just split it in half. They split it in half, so they bid it on lane miles and figured it out by lane miles, and then just whatever they got for lane miles, they doubled.
right, okay, because it's not proportionate, like if you do the math on that, it's like, why is this, it doesn't really, it doesn't add up. From my perspective,
But
just like,
my feeling is I told them, I said, it's, when somebody comes in and say, well, I plowed up 108 miles of road, and it's only 54.2 miles of road in the town of Pittsfield.
yeah, but they're not,
And my feeling is the same way. If you're gonna go out and plow the Johnson Flat Road, you're already gonna go to the end of the road. Of course, you're gonna plow it back. So just do it by lane mile. And that was explained to all of them.
okay,
It was, we're bidding on lane mile, on actual miles, road miles, not lane miles. Because lane miles, I tend to do paving or if I'm doing gravel work, because it's costing me each way to actually purchase material. I'm not purchasing anything. They're giving me a service.
right, but it's miles on the truck and gas and.
Yep.
So that's maybe,
and the other two bids were not including our sand and salt, that was them using their own, or was?
No,
these
that
two?
was including ours.
Okay, yeah, these numbers are wonky,
Yeah.
I don't know, anyway. that's-
Yeah, and some of them, you know, TW Clark's a local one, and he was over in East Newport, very reputable company, and he said, well, I'm gonna have to figure it out, because he's gonna have to buy plows and wings for his truck, he's gonna have to get sanders. And that type of equipment, you know, you're looking at a $300,000 truck to be able to plow roads with, if you're gonna do it out in the country. So it's an investment.
And it's a lot less of a unit price, I just wanna It's a make sure it lot was less, apples
But
to
you know,
apples.
we'll have to look and see what the quality is, it's, you
Right.
know, that's up to him to put the estimate forward, and he did, and now we'll see.
And, you know, what, like I said, I offered every one of them that had an opportunity that they could take my time and I would go up and show them everything that we were gonna do. And I've obviously, there's some dead end roads out in West Pittsfield that we are doing, the Grant Road, the Armstrong Road, where we took them off that route because we're gonna be doing them, and everybody was aware of that. They bid on those roads and those.
I have a feeling that, you know, he gets the contract this year, gets good pricing, gets a year under his belt, and then comes back next year with a little more adjusted pricing with like his real costs included and everything and whatnot.
Because I figured it out myself, I kinda had a number in my head, I said, you know, maybe I'll go into business maybe I'll go buy 2 decent used plow trucks. And I'll bid on this, and I had, and you can ask Jacob, I said the same thing, I said, if I was a contractor, where would be a number that I would feel comfortable if it was my money? Like it's the residents, I said, if we can get it 150, they can do it probably a little bit cheaper than we can do, so.
Any other questions from the council? Hearing none, I sense we're ready to vote. All those in favor of resolution 2488, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it, resolution 2488 passes. Jacob, can you read resolution 2489, please?
Resolution appointing Carrie Dion and Jennifer Watson to fill the vacancies on the Parks and Recreation Committee.
Look for a motion from the council.
Move we adopt resolution 2489.
Second.
Moved and seconded. This is just to appoint those 2 folks to the Parks and Rec. Was there any comments from the audience on resolution 2489? There are not. Any comments from council? There are not. Since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 2489, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it, resolution 2489 passes. Resolution 2490, Jacob.
Resolution approving a renewal application for liquor license and special amusement permit for the Sebastica Valley Lodge of Elks at 140 Middle Street, Pittsfield.
Look for a motion from the council.
Move we adopt resolution 2490.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Is there any comments from the audience on resolution 2490? There are not. Any comments from the council? Since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 2490, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it. Resolution 2490 passes. Resolution 2491, Jacob.
Resolution authorizing the town manager and grant administrator to file applications for the FFY 2025 Maine Bureau of Highway Safety Law Enforcement grants not to exceed $3,750 with a 25% match of $1,250 from the police budget totaling $5,000.
Look for a motion from the council.
Move we adopt resolution 2491.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Chief Morris, would you like to speak to this at all, or? Great.
Vincent Morris, Police Chief. So, this is Bureau of Highway Safety grant, which is very common for police departments across the nation, really in the state, to get these grants. I believe we haven't applied for them for years. And I just want to make sure that we start trying to get these funds in there. And a lot of these matches that you see are in-kind matches or like my time counts, kind of like the ATV grant. You know, I'll go out and do a couple details. I just have to basically annotate what I've done as well. So my time counts as well. But anyway, so yeah, this grant specifically, we're looking for speed enforcement. You know, I've been in a lot of these meetings and that's kind of been the issue. And this is giving me about 30 details, 4-hour details of having people on the roads just doing nothing but speed enforcement.
Excellent. Thank you. Are there any questions from the audience on resolution 2491? There are not. Any questions from the council?
Yeah,
Lindsay?
real quick, just, it had said overtime enforcement, which I'm assuming that's the speed detail, but also education collaboration. Do you see this as any kind of work that you would do with the schools or the districts, or just strictly speed enforcement?
Well, most of these, they have a kind of an idea of where we can go and give classes. It's like when I used to do this in Augusta, I would go to the driving academy and give a quick training class. I haven't really reached out to anybody around here to see if they want that, which we can't. It's not a big deal. I actually like doing that stuff. But I'm really not familiar with our driving classes in this area yet, so.
I was just curious, I saw that in there and I wondered if you had thought about
Yeah,
that.
and it also opens us up to other grants too as well, getting this and, you know, when they start giving out radars for basically free, you know, we're now on that list too, so. Which is about $3,500 just for the radars.
Thanks.
Any other questions from the council? Since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 2491, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, please say nay. Ayes have it, resolution 2491 passes. Jacob, can you read 2492?
Resolution authorizing the town manager and grant administrator to file an application to the Stephen and Tabitha King Foundation for capital improvements at the Pittsfield Public Library.
Look for a motion from the council.
Move we adopt resolution 2492.
Moved and seconded. Jacob, would you like to speak to this at all?
Yeah, this is a grant, there's no match for this, there are a number of projects that need to be done at the library, one of which being the replacement of the floors there, so this isn't for one specific project, but hopefully to be able for us to get some work done.
Excellent. Are there any comments from the audience on resolution 2492? Yes, Catherine.
Yes, Catherine Riddle, Grant Administrator. I just wanted to note that we've added to the list that's on the agenda just from a review. And Donnie and Public Works will be going out. But if we are going to apply for one grant for the library, we need to make sure we cover everything. So we've got heating, air conditioning system, the new carpeting, obviously over the flooring is needed. Masonry repairs, ceiling repairs for the rotunda on the main floor, upgrade and expand the current security system because it is very basic at the library. ADA picnic table and park bench if we can fit it in, bike rack if we can fit it in. Roof repairs because we'll be going out to look at the roof a little bit more. There were some repairs that were done at the junction of the old and new building. And so we've got to make sure that those are held, and if not, add that into the grant. And any other areas, there were two that were damaged previously that we'll be looking at. So we'll have a very comprehensive list and put that all together for one grant. It'll probably be, 9 or 10 years before another grant comes around that we'll apply for. So we'll cover everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Catherine. Are there any other comments from the audience on resolution 2492? Or not? Any comments from the council on resolution 2492?
When do they award the grant? Do you know for this?
I was told in November.
Oh, that's fast. Fast turnaround.
And what's the maximum we can apply for?
Maximum would be 50,000, so we'll need to put all of our estimates together, prioritize and take care of the most important items.
It's like a project to no match, so.
Great. Good. Any other comments? Hearing none, since we're ready to vote, resolution 2492, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, resolution 2492 passes. Jacob, can you read 2493, please?
Resolution authorizing the town manager to execute the SS4A grant agreement for the Pittsfield Comprehensive Safety Action Plan.
Look for a motion from the council.
Move we adopt resolution 2493.
Moved and seconded. Jacob or Catherine, would you like to speak to this? Either one of you?
Yeah, Catherine's been working on this project, so let's see.
Certainly, thank you. We listed that it would be for 2 years, simply at the request and advice of our project manager, just in case something happened, we could have COVID again, you never know. So we figured the project's a little bit over a year, but filing for amendments at the federal level usually takes several months. So the project is listed for 2 years. The match will be $30,000 for the $120,000 grant. 15,000 is figured to be the public works directors and the grant administrators and town managers' time. The other 15,000 would be cash. And the grant has been written, so if we could get a little bit more in kind, then we can do that. But basically, this project is important to look at safety issues in the community so that we can apply further for implementation funds on some of those projects that are identified. And if those projects are on state roads, then having a plan is always the most important thing. As you can see from the PPI project, which is now the village project, you have to have a plan from a qualified engineer. So in order to get any projects that are on state roads into the capital improvement plan, you know, rather than us calling up all the time and stating their issues and sending letters, we'll have a study that will assist us. And the study will include not only the roads, but also the pedestrian access, the sidewalks, the crosswalks, and any other type of traffic item with the road, a complete road process. And so I'm working on the RFP now. We're the only town that got this on our own, but the other towns that got help from the Council of Governments down in the southern part of the state are starting to move forward too. So I think we'll all be working together on how to do this. Thank you.
So, thank you, Catherine.
This is a grant that the council has already approved. This is simply authorization to sign the agreement.
Oh, all right. Okay. Yeah. Any other comments or any comments from the audience?
I would say as you go through the SS4A, just keep me in the loop as part of the steering. committee.
Absolutely.
Many of these now for the regions, and it's gonna be an in-depth process. There's gonna be a lot of time dedicated to it, but at the end, you do get the Federal Highway Administration approved document that is done by a pre-qualified engineer that I think also really helps complement the VPI that's going on. And so you've got a lot of dovetails going your way. So it's just keep me involved though, because my role is to provide the technical assistance to the engineers.
Excellent, thank you.
You come to Pittsfield every day?
I'm okay with that.
Who's good?
Any other comments from the audience? Hearing none, any comments from the council?
This might be a Jared question or Jacob or Catherine, somebody. So this project is gonna be completed within a year or so, which is far ahead of where our VPI is gonna be at. So can this be used as part of our match to the VPI?
No.
Because it's federal.
Yeah,
Okay, and then, but these projects can inform, like this study can inform what needs to be done with the VPI, or is it gonna be like happening at the same time?
I think other way, I think what's gonna happen is the VPI is gonna inform.
Gonna drive what
the-
this needs to.
For the
assess.
SS4A,
Okay.
the consultants have already done a lot of the feasibility analysis, the preliminary engineering will be done. The SS4A, well, from what I understand, the scope is not necessarily in the downtown part, but
Correct.
other roads that there are identified pedestrian and safety concern. And so, like I said, it's a dovetail. Normally, when I've had towns that have wanted to do both at the same time with the same consultants, and I say, oh, Texas size hard no. Because it's just duplicative of efforts. But Bar Harbor is doing their SS4A now, and then they're gonna do their VPI next. Doesn't matter which order you go. I mean, I always say go through the VPI with the state because state of Maine, it's actually much more, there's less hoops for the town to go through to get the implementation funds for time-sensitive projects. Whereas the SS4A is a much more long duration look at traffic mobility issues. And it does set you up, yes, for the implementation funding. However, we're with just where we're at right now with the department, our VPI process is much more expedient, and we know that we've got the ability to leverage funds through bipartisan infrastructure law, as long as we complete the process. So that's all. It's really, they complement each other. Don't do them at the same time. What order you do them doesn't matter. But mine's better because I'm in the state of Maine.
And so for these streets, are they limited to state streets, or can it also address our side streets, sidewalks and all of that?
So the SS4A grant is set up for the area outside of the PPI, so that
That's
we
what I was
can mesh these together and not duplicate.
Somerset, Harland Ave, places like that, that you've already identified.
The Somerset, Industrial Park intersection, maybe,
Absolutely, yeah.
probably. It's a train wreck most of the time.
Yeah, that's been identified and specifically listed there.
Yeah, that'd be great. Any other comments from the council? Hearing none, since we're ready to vote, all those in favor of resolution 2493, please signify by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay. Ayes have it, resolution 2493 passes. Moving on to item number 10, discussion items, public comments. Anybody in the audience have something they'd like to speak about? Catherine?
Yes, thank you. Catherine Rose, Grant Administrator. I'll be very quick. I had 3 items. First, on the Pittsfield Community Festival, it will be a children's fun day at the library, as Jacob had noted, on Saturday, September 21st, 12 o'clock noon to 4 o'clock PM. And the PD's original date in August got changed to September. And then this week we found out a lot of the vendors canceled out. So very quickly, the library director, Donna, and Amy from the police department worked with myself. So we've got the event moved over to the library. It will be specific items at the library to celebrate the library and children, as well as to have the celebration for T-Mobile's Hometime National Grant program, in which the town was selected as one of the 20 organizations or communities from over 650 applications to be awarded a grant that will reopen the reuse center and recognize the seniors who had run the program since the first day it was open. This is excluding the roof damage, which is being handled by other funding. So we'll be getting a $21,485 big check, hopefully by the mayor, at the event at 12:30 this Saturday. And then try to take it to the bank and we'll see what happens.
See,
The second one is the Rails to Trails National Grant. When I sent this in, I just did it to get myself ready to do the state rail trail grant program, because that's very complex. And lo and behold, we were very fortunate. We got a $10,000 grant for the Pittsfield Recreational Trail. So I think this will jumpstart the project. It will assist with work for the first section from Somerset Avenue as far as we can go towards School Street. And as we know, that area is seriously out of shape. Public Works goes and spends their own money trying to fix it every year. And this will be able to actually hire a contractor to go out and do some work there. It's full of mud holes, the students, walkers, bicyclists, everybody has trouble with it. We'll find out shortly, I guess within a month, whether we've received any funding from the state conservation program for the trail program. And if so, this can work as a match and it would be wonderful. But that is highly competitive and this one is too. So I just sent it in for a lark to try to get my thoughts in order for the state competition, and lo and behold, we're gonna get $10,000. So that is great. The last item I'll mention is I've been going to a lot of the webinars about the programs at the EPA. The Environmental Protection Agency has a lot of money that is coming out in grants to help towns with recycling in all aspects of reuse, reduce, and every other component, environmental justice, celebrating the environment, and other items, all topics that are non-enforcement. This also involves an informational session that took place on recreation economy for rural communities, in which you would compete across the nation, just like all these other programs, for facilitators to come and meet with the government and interested citizens to go over all of the town's assets that we have, something that we've talked about over the years, because we have so many trails that are not mapped, so many recreational assets, and a beautiful community, and having some professional assistance free of charge to give us ideas on how to put that all together to help the economy, to bring people in to go to all those facilities and to encourage our citizens to go to those facilities so that everybody goes to buy gas, goes to the store, goes to the restaurants. I think everybody in town would be happy with that. But that is highly competitive, so there are too many applications to apply for all of them. So I'm gonna put this all together, meet with Jacob, and we'll figure out which program that we'll apply for. But there's a lot coming up in October and November. Thank you.
Excellent, thank you. Any other comments from the audience? None, go to councillor comments. Lindsay,
Always start with me.
just go right.
I wanna
to-
go around. No, I'm just kidding.
He's on a guilt touch.
Real quick, just Catherine, follow up, is there anything on drug disposal for like, medication and waste? Through like, I know we have our Bring Drug Back Day, is that right, through the police department?
Mhm.
Is there any of that grant opportunity that has to do with disposal of pharmaceuticals in the
I
community?
have not seen anything, but we've been very fortunate that the medications are all taken down to the state police and they paid for the disposal costs, likely through some sort of opportunity.
Yeah,
So we just have a constant having the container there, which was given to us through a grant from Healthy SB. And then the police just have their commute time to go down.
I know that exists, that continues to be an opportunity for people who don't bring those meds back. They dispose of them in their homes and in the water treatment, so it's just something to think about as you look for that, those opportunities at EPA, just want to put that out there, so.
Yeah, I have looked and I haven't seen anything
Okay.
as of
Yeah, I
yet.
was just curious. I know, the healthcare facility is going through a new waste management, waste disposal, so I just didn't know if that was gonna happen, at the community level, but.
Mhm.
Other than that, thanks Donnie for doing the bid work on the time and sanding and everyone for the good idea of the MCI, to add that in there, I think it's a great idea, and other than that, everyone's doing great, thanks.
Great, thank you. Heather?
I got a couple things. The Main Cheese Festival was held last Sunday on the 8th. We had over 1,200 attendees. Had another beautiful day. We really lucked out. I didn't book the lady earlier in the week, but it was a beautiful day. Lots of happy people eating cheese. Special thanks to Chief Morris and his staff for coming down. And MCI and Jason Allen wrangled a bunch of students to help with parking, and that was extremely helpful as well. And we had a really great cadre of community volunteers, which really, really helped quite a bit. So thank you for everyone for their support for that. I got an email, I don't know, from the email list for the state, from the Department of Ag. There's a municipal planning assistance program that can help. Basically, it's like comp tools that communities can use in doing their comp plans, which is something that we still need to address. We kind of did the amendments to the code already, and I think the comp plan was the other thing that we had on the priorities, because it was due to be done in 2023. I think it was 2013, and then 2023 it was due. So there's numerous plans on there, and one of them is mapping services, and then the data portal was other municipal and statewide plans that you can use for templates. So I thought that would be a good asset for the town to use. And I had a couple questions about the airport project. Are we all finished with that, and our final report has been written and filed, and we sorted out everything with the contractor, with the withholding and all that?
It was a long process, but I think we wrapped it up at this point.
Everything has been filed. We're waiting for after October 1st so that the new funding is available. So we'll see what happens. We had some back and forth with the state of Maine on them paying for the amendments that they promised to pay for. And so that's not resolved as of yet.
Okay.
But we'll see what happens after October 1st. And then that will all go through the town's books to clear everything out. We'll use the reserve funding. We'll have the exact amounts. Before we were going to start transferring everything, but then the state and federal government started changing the figures, so we left it all alone.
So the money coming in after October 1st, is that like the yearly allocation that we get for the airport?
It would be grant amendments.
The grant amendments for what they changed and stuff,
Yes.
but we do get yearly funding for the airport, and then
Correct.
we owe that back to, was it Rangeley we borrowed from to do the project or something? We have to like transfer it over to them or
The
something?
yearly funding is listed in the capital improvement program, and we have 2 years worth of funding of $150,000 that would be transferred back to Rangeley for the interlocal loan that the DOT arranges for the different towns so that they don't lose their money. And we're able to use it because we didn't have enough available.
So when do we go ahead and do that? Does that happen like at the end of the year when we tidy everything else up or?
It's done automatically by the state of Maine. The money will never come to the town.
Oh, even better, okay. So we get- It's on here, it's on there. All right, thank you. And we had also talked about, having like a ribbon cutting ceremony of some kind for the airport. I don't know if we want to do like a fall
Yes,
plan for that or,
Caleb and I have talked
maybe with
about it.
like the flaming red swamp maples in the background and.
Yeah, we'll do that.
And then I had a question about Madawaska Ave, the Y that we talked about with Farland API and like using the state funding we already had in place and stuff. And then I noticed it just got paved.
Yeah.
So why are we paving and then we're gonna tear it all out?
They're gonna tee it off. So that paving, you'll see where they come out and squared that off. That was just a temporary fix. They're gonna tee that off.
Right, so I'm wondering why we went through and fixed it. Did we do that or did the state come?
The
to
state, the state did
Okay.
that. The state-
Well, like,
the state did that, yeah.
I thought that was.
Jerry did that.
I Some like spot bits in town and I'm like.
No.
Okay. Taxes, not.
Gas taxes, gas taxes.
Gas taxes.
Yeah.
Alright,
Thank you for driving an internal combustion engine.
that's all I have. Thank you, for the bidding and everything. I think that will, hopefully alleviate some, wear and tear on our plow trucks if we're just doing the in-town routes and make staffing a little bit easier to for.
Thank you. Oh,
Yeah, I just want to reiterate the congrats to Russell regarding the CEO certification. You know, he came on in one position and took over as CEO, and I think he's done an admirable job facing some difficult situations. So kudos to him. I think the MCI Main Street addition is an excellent addition for the town for this project. And I certainly like the idea of the proposed landscaping because it looks mighty bare and has for a couple of years, and I'd like to see that improved. So I think that's a good thing coming to the community. The community festival, I'm sorry that it wasn't in August. Hopefully we'll not have an inundation next year, that we can do it. And I look forward to this Saturday's mini community festival. So that's a plus for the town. Thanks, Vinnie. Over the past several weeks, I've had the opportunity firsthand to view the highway department at work. It's a three-man crew currently, hopefully adding more, okay? 2 more. However, it's been a three-man crew recently, okay? And they basically were doing some ditching on between well, actually Elm Street, George Street and South Street to Somerset Avenue. This is an area that over the past few years is quite honestly flooded continuously. Our barn has been floating a couple of times, so it certainly needed doing. And I want to commend Jerry, Ben and the crew for the yeoman work that they did hauling who knows how many tons of mud and muck out of this ditch that hasn't been done in years. In addition, they were replacing the culvert on George Street. Figured it would be just a simple replacement until they hit concrete. And that kind of changed things a little bit. However, I talked to Jerry a lot during this time, and we had good conversations. And I appreciate that. I think Jerry's a hard worker. I think he's been a positive influence in the highway department. The issue that I have, and we've talked about this, is at what point do we do manpower versus equipment or both? The truck that they were using to haul the muck out of my backyard, basically, is a 1990 truck that basically Jerry pointed out to me this morning, has some signage or signs as part of the floorboards. That really kind of got to me, that we know the roads are horrible. We know that there are 50+ miles of roads to do. And we all want better roads. And if we don't have good equipment and good personnel, then we can't do it. I think developing the current hybrid system, is going to work for now. However, I think at a certain point, the council in the town needs to bite the bullet and make a decision. We've lost people for wages. We've lost people for insurance. All kinds of reasons that, having been a businessman, I fully understand, in the past that occurs. We need to be able to pay and afford a reasonable wage for a reasonable day's work. It's not, I'm not trying to be picky, but they were doing a 3-man job, 2 of them on excavators, 1 using a dump truck, okay? Now, at a certain point, the 2 that were on excavators were way ahead of the person with the dump truck, because we were only using 1 dump truck to fill it up, go wherever it went to unload it and bring it back. That is damn inefficient work, okay? And I don't mean it as a criticism to the highway department, because, they did what they had to do with the equipment that they had at the time. However, we pay Jerry a decent wage and he has decent ideas as far as what to do. Ben was out there doing whatever he could, but I have to say, there was idle time, and Jerry and I talked about this. How much idle time? I can't calculate it necessarily, but there were times that equipment remained idle while they were waiting for the truck to come back. Yet we were still paying these people. And we need to find some way to either make a happy medium or bite the bullet to say, this is what we're going to do. We need to get decent equipment. We cannot operate with 34 and 32-year-old trucks and expect them to last and be held together with baling wire or whatever they're being held together with, signs that they rip off from the highway department. So, I think that that we need to do something as we approach the budget season, not only for the immediate future, the immediate budget, but looking ahead over 3 to 5 years. What is our equipment needs? What do we need for heavy equipment? What do we need for excavators? Is the equipment that we have the right equipment that we need? Could we make do with different equipment? I think that the council needs to look at this, because I think that as we go to the future, working on a major project with the DOT and Main Street, we're all talking about what needs to be done to rehab Pittsfield. and give it a damn good facelift, which it's not really had since the seventies. I think that it is time to take this on into consideration. Nobody wants to pay more taxes. However, nobody wants to hear the bitching and moaning because this is not right or that's not right if we don't have the right people and equipment to do the job. So, thanks. That's it.
Thanks, Art. Natalia?
I have just a couple of things, I'll be quick. First, I wanted to give an update on our community heart and soul group. So Jan has been nominated and accepted the position as the leader of that group. Just to remind everyone here, we've put together a small team comprised of Pittsfield residents that are in the beginning stages of a formal training to learn how to engage the citizens of our town. And the first step is we're being trained to learn how to find out who makes up our community, especially the people that are not always represented in the places that we go and see. So we're learning a lot. We have a professional coach who comes to us from the county, in person and virtually. We had our first session last week. It went really well. We're learning a lot. Our group right now is small. It will grow. We're going to be as inclusive as we possibly can, the more the merrier eventually, but we'll continue to keep you updated. We are finalizing our logo, our email address is live, and once we are trained to know what we're doing, we'll be able to share more. But we're going to start socializing this idea around town, so you will begin to hear and see a lot more about it. Would you like to add anything?
Perfect.
Okay. One question. So this stands out to me every time, the grant spreadsheet. So we talk a lot about grants now. The spreadsheet that comes to us in the packet is like a snapshot of an Excel spreadsheet, and it's busy and it's a lot. So I was wondering, could that be organized or sorted or have a cover page that very high level lets us on the council know how many grants we've applied for, how many have been awarded, what the dollar amount is, how many have been rejected? That's what I'm looking for. I would filter that and sort it myself, but obviously I can't because it's not a live spreadsheet. But I don't think we have time to get in the weeds of all of those and read all the detail, but I'm super interested in knowing how many are we applying for? How many are we getting? What dollar amount does that equal? How many are we not getting? And I don't really care why we're not getting them, just how many.
Yes, we can certainly do that. Catherine has been past couple of months providing more of a summary also in addition to the spreadsheet, but we can certainly do.
I'm talking high level, like number of grants and dollar amount that corresponds.
We can do that.
All right, I did do a 2-page summary, which has listed the grants that were awarded, the grants that were not awarded, which so far is 0, the grants that we're waiting for, and the ones that we're looking at. There's also a second page which puts foundation funding, because that's a little bit different. It's harder for towns to get foundation funding, although we've got a couple recently, but we were turned down on some. And then I totaled the whole thing up, excluding those that we're still looking at. So I can,
I think that's on the right track. We're probably still a little in the weeds for what we're looking for.
just maybe put totals.
Like we want a quick glance, look at one sheet to have an idea of where we're at with grants.
I do agree with you on the busy sheet. I was asked to use that. It is very busy. So
I try to pay attention to all of them that we're doing, and there just isn't enough time in the day to read them all. But we're doing
Yes.
great work, and I just want to keep track of where we're at.
That is true. There's many more grants we could look at, but we try to apply for those that actually will not create extra work in the future or extra money in the future. They're for specific projects
Yeah.
that will help us have low matches and everything.
That's
I can add on some totals with numbers
Yeah,
there.
maybe just a cover sheet to what's already there.
If I can get rid of the big spreadsheet, I'll be happy.
Or I don't mind putting together a template and then you can fill it in. I just
I'm sorry, where did we get that? I remember seeing it, but what was was it attached to the packet?
It's in the packet, it's embedded, page 47. It's like a screenshot of
45,
an Excel spreadsheet, but it's really, really small.
45
Yeah.
and 46 roughly does, but it's a little in the weeds as well.
Yeah, I just need to add
But yeah.
totals of grants to
Yeah,
the
it's-
small.
Yeah, it's sorted by category so that, all of the ones that are approved are together, all the ones that were denied are together. Right now, they're a little scattered.
Yeah, right now they are, and I can go over that with you after the meeting.
Oh, that's okay.
Can I just say that, like, if you're continually sorting them by like approved and applied, then that means like redoing that spreadsheet many times over.
You can manipulate Excel.
Like,
No, it doesn't. You can
if
sort it.
Move it over.
Just sort
You
of.
can sort by category, you can filter.
Catherine and I will sit down and work on it, and we'll get it taken care of.
But speaking of weeds, I can notice the weeds on Main Street look really good, so thank you. That's like drives me crazy, so I'm always looking. Still a little work to do in front of that gas station across from Chimbro though. It's better, but it's good, you know, still a little work. But I did want to say that I noticed, it was important to me that it looked good before reunion, and it did, so thank you. And I just want to commend our garden club. I think the older I get, the more this stands out to me and I appreciate. I think we're the best garden club in the country. The town looks beautiful. I love their work. For Main Street, I was wondering what's the status of that vacant doctor office? Does someone still own that and is taking care of it?
Someone still owns it, and the taxes are current.
Does the sign have to stay up? The sign saying that it's a family practice?
It doesn't have to stay up, but I'm not sure that we have contact with the individual who still owns it, but. I don't have a lot of information on it.
I was thinking we should think about taking that down.
The
Well,
same
we-
people that own the old Rite Aid.
Yeah.
It
It
is.
is.
Good luck.
Okay, if that's the case, then there will be.
It bothers me that the sign is still there because it's.
Not sure you can force them to take it back. Privately owned.
I'm excited about the MCI project. I think that's fantastic. I love that we're putting it all in together. It helps us nail down the timeline. And then I just want to say, Donnie, great job as always. Excellent leadership. I always look forward to your updates. You can tell that you know what's going on in your area. I really appreciate that. And Dr. Markowski, I couldn't agree more with your comments, and I'm glad that it's almost budget season, so we can tackle it.
All set?
Yep.
Excellent, thanks. And I will be brief. Not to put more onto the grant writer, but I was over the course of the summer in Hathorne Park, and the bleachers over there are just awful. There's holes in half of them, they're falling apart. I know there's a lot of maybe grant opportunities out there to maybe upgrade those bleachers. As well as picnic tables or other things. I know the rec department has been looking for some funds to kind of fix some of those things over there. And I think that would be excellent if we could find some money for that.
I did send
Yeah, go
out to the recreation department, the grant, materials in which we had to file by last December if we wanted to use any of the funding for this year. They moved all the deadlines back and everything. They only had a couple of weeks and, you know, they weren't able to work on anything, but we know the date's coming up this year.
Right.
So I'll send that out as soon as there's paperwork, and then they can choose which projects they'd be interested in. It would fund items like that, exactly.
That would be excellent. Yeah, that'd be great. Thank you. Also, a thank you to David and Jared for the update on the VPI. That's excellent. I think that's a great idea, encompassing everything like that. Also, congratulations to Russell on his certifications for CEO. He's got plenty of work to do, so that's a good thing to see. And I'll say, I think that's about it. I'll look for a motion to adjourn.
Move adjourned.
We are adjourned.